It is CJ, aka Slippin Jimmy, and what I'm going to walk you through is how to use the export feature on Handigraphs. How you can take that exported file and upload it into an AI model to help you find a bet. So we're going to start here on the Starters tab, and what I'm trying to find is pitchers who are going to be likely to give up a home run. So before I go and actually export my data, I'm going to filter it down a little bit to make it easier for that model that I'm going to end up using. So I'm going to go into my data filters, and for this one, I'm just going to select my home run prone versus handedness. This one includes my righties and my lefties. And I'm good with season data. I could use this for last 3, last 5, but for now, I'll just stick with season, and I'm going to click export right here. You can only use this, by the way, on desktop. This is not available for mobile. Okay, so this goes into my downloads folder. We're going to save that, put a pin in that, because we will come back and use that here in just a few minutes. So we've got our list of all of our pitchers and kind of meeting that criteria that I had specified in my likely to give up a home run. By the way, if you want to kind of see that, I'm just looking for these metrics right here. So next thing I'm going to do is go to my batters table, and I've got this on my last 5. So I want to look for batters who, in particular, they haven't hit a home run in their last 5 games. So I kind of call these like dudes who are due, and this would be pretty much anybody who hasn't homered, but they have extra base hits. They're barreling the ball and they have a pretty high fly ball rate. All right, so this is our list of guys that you can see that filter came up with. So I'm going to click export right here. Same thing, that's going to go to my downloads folder. So now I've got my 2 files that I want to end up using. Now I'm going to go into my AI model to upload these. So I'm in ChatGPT. You can obviously use other models to do this with. If you want to use Google's Gemini, you want to use Anthropic's Claude, whichever one you are used to using. I just tend to use ChatGPT more than the others. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to click this plus button. Another thing just to keep in mind, you don't have to be a paid user for your ability to use ChatGPT and to be able to use the file upload. So just keep that in mind. If you're free, you can still do this. I'm going to upload those 2 files right here. And then just for the sake of time, I'm going to copy and paste a prompt that I want to use for ChatGPT. So the main things I want to highlight in this is that, for one, I'm describing ChatGPT what this data is, right? So I need to explain it's baseball analytics data. It has stats on pitchers and batters. I'm also describing the files, so it knows which file is mapped to which data. So you can see various metrics for pitchers that are starting today and season today. These are also pitchers that have poor batted ball metrics and are likely to give up home runs. I'm going to add just one piece here that says, and these are their season splits. And I add that just because I want to give ChatGPT a little more context into the time range for that data, because it will consider the amount of time and some of the reasoning that it will be doing here in just a second. So I've got that for my pitchers. I also described the various metrics in the batter stat CSV and giving it an explanation of the split. The last piece that I have here is just telling ChatGPT what I want it to do. So I'm asking it to review these spreadsheets. I want them to compare which pitchers are most vulnerable and which batters are most likely to hit a home run based on that data. And then I'm also giving it a concrete task, which is to tell it, give me a list of the top 5 batters based on this review from the batter stats file. Okay, so I'm going to hit send. You should be able to see whenever you send that chat the CSV files right here. So you can kind of just quickly see all of the different stats. The other thing I'll mention is that if you only want ChatGPT to look at specific columns, you can specify that in your prompt, or what I think is even more helpful, especially with the ability in Handigraphs to use views, you can just use a view and then export from there, and it'll cut down the columns for you. Cool. So now we've got our list of our home run candidates. And what's really cool is not only did ChatGPT give me that list, but it also gave me the metrics that are going to be right there that you can kind of quickly review. So it's got Lofton, Grichuk, Cronenworth, Sanchez, and Ketel Marte. And you can see it also is actually giving a score. What's nice is it also explained to me why these are the highest. What's interesting here is that you can always do a follow-up prompt and say, what if I wanted, 6 through 10? Can you find me, let's just do, since the list was small, can you find me 2 more batters that may qualify for this list? If not, then tell me no other batters will qualify. So again, I started with a smaller list with that last 5 filter, but this is where if you want to take a larger list, you can kind of start to, see if you can loosen some of the criteria. So it actually came back and said no other batters qualify beyond the top 5 that I've already provided. So that's fine, but maybe in the future, if I want to get a larger list, I can either make that criteria a little bit less stringent in my filter or tell ChatGPT maybe not to emphasize some of the different metrics as well. So you can see here's my 5 guys. And just for the sake of time, what I like to do is just do a kind of a cross check on ChatGPT. So for example, it had Jesus Sanchez or Jesus Sanchez that was part of that list. So what I'm going to do is actually I want to just double check how he does against Dustin May, who is a righty. So I'm going to look at my last 30. Boom. That all checks out right there. And then we know that Sanchez is a lefty. So I'll take my last 60 for against lefties. And yeah, batted ball metrics, very bad. So ChatGPT, good call out there on Sanchez as a guy that I might want to target. So I would definitely recommend, if you are using ChatGPT or another AI model, still come back and do another validation in Handigraphs before you go and make that bet. But this is a really easy way for you every day to kind of just get a quick list of guys that you want to start diving into if you feel a little bit overwhelmed when you come to the website. And what's great is that you can also tell ChatGPT and some of these other models to remember this prompt, or you can kind of just copy and save that for further use. You can always go back and just paste it back in or tell ChatGPT or another model to go and reference it.